What's going on, guys? Ishin here. In today's episode, we'll be putting the LS engine back in the FD. So just a few weeks ago, I picked up the LS engine from Pashko. Again, Pashko is such a knowledgeable, such a good guy. I learned so much from him, and I was fortunate enough to capture the build series with them. I learned everything about teardown, cleaning, rebuilding, measuring the gaps, and so on and so forth. And I hope that was educational video section for this video series for you guys. So the garage looks pretty ridiculous right now. My roommate just putting his Ducati 1098 in my garage, so it's tightly packed inside. I'm gonna have to move these outside whenever I walk on the FD now. So as far as clutch and flywheel goes, I'm not getting anything new for that because, to be honest, I'm going pretty broke rebuilding this whole thing right now anyways. So the flywheel that came off of the LS engine is the Fidanza lightweight LS2 flywheel. I'm mating that to the LS2 clutch, and that should actually be good enough to hold 500 wheel horsepower. So I'm just gonna put that back in, clean it up, torque everything down. I also have here ARP flywheel bolts and clutch bolts. Although this is not really necessary, I just went with ARP because I lost the OEM pressure plate and flywheel bolts anyways. And here is another product from RDE. If you guys remember, these guys hooked me up with the timing chain tensioner piece that went right here. They also make this reverse lockout replacement piece. So on the T56 transmission and a lot of transmissions out there, there's what's called reverse lockout. It's this like electronic solenoid that actuates when the car is running so that you don't accidentally put your gear in reverse, going from like 6 to reverse or something like that. Although that's very unlikely, it does happen from time to time apparently. This beautiful machine piece is actually created to prevent, mechanically, it prevents you from going into the reverse. So, you know, a lot of LS swapped cars like mine, you have to run a harness so that the actuator is doing its thing. So what this company does is create these tiny little devices that you can hook in here and replace the entire actuator with, to basically have the same lockout functionality without actually hooking up anything to it. So that's what I'm going to install here. Alright, now it's time to torque down the flywheel bolts. I'm doing a sequence here, 15, 37, and up to 85 foot-pounds. This is what the ARP instruction said, or 85 is what the ARP instruction said, but I read online that you want to do in sequence. So I got my torque meter here. I'm just gonna set this to 3 different settings and go at it. Alright guys, so since the last section of this video where I did a time lapse of me putting the motor in, days, weeks, actually months have passed. It is November, and I'm gonna give you a quick update on where the FD is. Basically what happened last time was putting the engine in is I wanted to put the engine back in the car so bad that I just went at it. I did a couple sectional videos here and there, but I just went to work, went to town, and finished putting the engine back in the car. I hope you enjoy the Stranger Things soundtrack that I threw in there for you guys. And if you watched the Stranger Things TV series, if you ever noticed, Joyce drives a Ford Pinto. It is probably the cleanest Ford Pinto I've ever seen in my life. I'm surprised it's still in driving mint condition the way it is. I'm not sure if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I posted on there saying that the Ford Pinto Joyce drives is probably the most dangerous thing in the entire TV series. Enough talking, let's go straight to the garage. Oh, check out this new poster I got too. 4 wheels, move the body, 2 wheels, move the soul. It's a CB550 cafe racer. Alright, let's turn this bad boy on. Alright, so here is my garage. Here in my garage, JK. Here in my garage, I have tasteful cars that does not require much knowledge to build. So, let's engine back in the car. Let me just show you some of the parts I installed, and maybe this could be a good opportunity to show you what kind of parts you need to complete this engine swap. So let me just start with the basics. Down there, let me grab my light actually. First of all, down here on the left, you see that red frame coming from the back to the front. That's the Sandberg subframe that you're gonna need. There's a lot of companies that make these subframes. The previous owner was Sandberg, so that's why I have Sandberg in the car. It's basically this big cross-sectional piece that goes all the way across the back, and it mounts to the engine. So in terms of the mounting points, you got 2 mounting points for the motor to the subframe. On the right side here, on the driver's side, you have rubber bushing that goes in between the mount to the subframe. Passenger side, same thing, real easy. It just goes straight in, the bolt goes straight in from top to bottom, clamps in. As for the frame itself, it's really like structural part of the vehicle. The lower control arm connects right to the subframe right there, and then the subframe itself gets clamped to the frame, right? And looking to the back here, the back end of the lower control arm is also connected to the subframe, and subframe again is hooked up to the frame. Super easy, really not that hard to install. This is why LS swaps are so common on FDs, because it's so easy and so cheap to do. As for steering, you see that the steering rack here, right in front of me, is connected to the subframe again, Sandberg subframe. There's a little spacer made out of aluminum, and then it gets clamped on. That's it. And now as for the transmission, let me just crawl under the car real quick so I can show you how that's mounted. So coming under the car, here's a T56 transmission. You see the oil pan right there up front, made it to the T56 transmission. I still need to put in the bolt there. It seems like it's missing a bolt. So basically, for T56 transmission installation, all you have to do is install this bracket. This one is for the T56 transmission, and it's oily because it was leaking, and I fixed the leak by changing the drive shaft seal in the rear end there. All you have to do is get the bracket, mount the T56 transmission, mount the T56 transmission to the engine, and that's it. Coming to the rear, while I'm at it, the rear differential is stock FD RX7 differential housing. However, a lot of times the housing is the weak point. When you're putting down like 500 wheel horsepower to the car, the housing might break. So what you get is, at least in my case, a brace. This red brace is aftermarket. It's stiffening up the differential in the back so that the housing does not move around as much as it used to, and it's stiffening everything up. The differential on the inside is I believe a Cusco 2-way. It's being upgraded, and I'm not really sure how much power it's going to handle. The first time I take this thing out on the track, it was 500 horsepower and I don't know, 450 torque or whatever it's gonna output. It might snap in half. So I'll make sure to film that. I'm gonna find the capability, the limits of this rear differential the hard way, but we'll see. I'm not gonna be drag racing this car, right? It's a track car, so it should hold up pretty okay. Alright, coming back to the front of the engine, I got the water pump here. I have the ATI damper, different brackets here and there. I'm marking up the hose here for the which is going to be AM line for the power steering. I got a new power steering pump that's going to come up here. Deleting the ABS system, just kind of clearing everything up. And next step is going to be wiring harness, which is sitting right here. I took this to my apartment in Indianapolis when I was living down there, working for Andretti racing team, and trying to basically make the LS engine harness with the Mazda chassis harness and make it all work somehow. So if the car starts without catching on fire, I'll be happy man. Alright, real quick, coming to the inside of the car, here is what the transmission tunnel looks like. So the shifter comes, it gets pushed forward a little bit. You can see that I cut up a little bit on the front side of the transmission shifter there. Only to install the T56 transmission because it just shifts everything forward a little bit. But that's it. That's pretty much only shaving you have to do when you're putting an LS engine in FD RX7. Just get the subframe, mount everything up, and it just drops right in. It looks like it's meant to be there. Right? Alright, anyways, that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video of me installing the engine back in the car. There's a lot to come for the car. I got new side skirts straight from Japan. I got front bumper straight from Japan. I got APR wings. I think this is a GT300 series that's gonna go on the car. It's going to be sweet. So thanks again for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave any questions, comments in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video series.